The following is a production of the Department of Broadcasting at Western Illinois University.
Live from Salee Hall in high definition. News 3 starts now.
Coming up on Good Morning Macomb, a look at the fall from grace at one-time retail powerhouse. What went wrong at Radio Shack?
And another liquor license goes up for a vote in Macomb City Council. The decision ahead.
And Western's women's basketball team made a big statement on the road. See what kind of magic the Leathernecks were able to produce at IUPUI. But first, our top story. University officials say they're trying to start the healing process after a post-party fight broke out last fall following a Black Student Association party. Welcome to Good Morning Macomb. I'm Emily Manley.
And I'm Shanae Glasgow. President Jack Thomas and other university officials spoke last night on where they are going from here after last semester's fight.
Forward and overlook the issues. We have to address the issues in order to bring about change.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Members of the BSA were in attendance to voice their concerns about the events that took place at the end of the fall. Western Courier Editor-in-Chief Nicholas Stewart was also in attendance. Stewart was suspended indefinitely from his duties as Editor-in-Chief in January for publishing a video he took of the fight. Full disclosure, Nicholas Stewart is a weather anchor here at News 3. His suspension as Editor-in-Chief at the Courier has since been lifted. Macomb City Council has denied a liquor license to the owner of Annie's Cafe after council members voted 6-1 against it. The owner of the cafe, Christine Ann Kellner, said she wanted to supply her video gaming parlor with beer and wine. At last week's meeting, Mayor Mike Inman and aldermen explained that they wanted Kellner's incomplete application completely filled out before they could consider her request. The missing information included safety and security at the property and how the parlor will check IDs for people who are underage.
I think the decision by the council was a good one. I would have concurred had I been in a position to vote. Not anything personally derogatory against the petitioner, but I think there was just too many unanswered questions for them to feel comfortable moving forward.
Although council denied Kellner's request, council approved a liquor license for the owner of the Cenex gas station on Lafayette and Jackson.
Macomb City Administrator Dean Torreson will be retiring at the end of the year. Torreson served the city for 8 years. He says he will retire in Iowa, where his children and grandchildren live. The search for a new city administrator will begin in September. Mayor Mike Inman touched on how they will replace Torreson when he retires. Also out of Monday night's city council meeting, residents in Macomb will soon be fishing for a walleye out at Spring Lake Park. Aldermen approved the spending of $4,000 from the Hotel Motel Fund to supply Spring Lake with 2,400 walleye to arrive by the second week of March.
Switching gears to some Western news, faculty parking may be open to the public sooner in the afternoon. SGA passed a bill that certain faculty lots be open to the public at 4:30 in the afternoon rather than 5. These lots would be in Horben, Canabla, and Union. This change would make it easier for students to get to events. Extracurriculars often begin at 5, and the earlier parking would make it possible for students to arrive on time. The new time is not expected to bother faculty because they would typically have left by this time. You may not know it, but there are many things that are stolen from dining halls each semester, and we're learning students repay that amount of stolen goods through higher meal costs. News 3's Mark Gorski tells us what items are disappearing.
This is what you're supposed to be doing after you finish eating in the dining halls at Western Illinois University. Sadly enough, there are many who won't return their trays with plates and silverware, claiming them as their own. Sodexo has been having a rough year with the amount of items being stolen by the residents who live in the same hall.
For Sodexo, it's frustrating. We have to keep ordering more silverware in China. We keep running out more than ever. So I guess it's a little frustrating for us.
Sodexo had to replenish over $7,000 worth of utensils last semester.
I didn't know that they had to replace that using that much money. I didn't know that at all.
Sodexo recently reported about 50 dozen forks have gone missing just this semester.
Like last year when I was getting pasta, it was pretty tough because I had to go all the way around the cafeteria to get more silverware.
Sodexo has been trying their hardest for people to return their utensils. One way they did so was by having these boxes placed on all the floors in the residence halls.
We at least want to get back what they have in their room, what hasn't been thrown away. That helps, and we get some of the silverware and china back. It's okay to take it to your room, just put it in the box when you're done.
Some floors don't have the boxes on their floor, so people are placing their plates in random areas on the floor, which is mainly near the trash area. Residents are asked to bring their utensils back to the tray returns right away. For News 3, I'm Mark Gorski.
Sodexo says it's done everything that it can in trying to stop customers from taking utensils, but it's still a growing problem.
In more local news, the Performing Arts Society says a record-breaking 255 people came out to support the arts on Valentine's Day. The annual wine tasting event raises funds to support arts programming at WIU. Community members came out to sample a wide variety of wines at the University Union on Saturday night. We're told attendance was up 85 people from last year's event. The Performing Arts Center is still tallying the money raised. In today's special report, we're discussing the biggest story in the tech world this week. Radio Shack's bankruptcy filing last week left few surprised. The retailer had been reported as struggling for years. Today's News 3 Mario Calero looks into what went wrong for one of the most well-known merchants of the last century.
With the new technology, everybody's buying online or going to the bigger outlets like the Best Buys and that to get their stuff.
It's a result consumers and experts both thought may occur. Last week's Chapter 11 bankruptcy filing by Radio Shack means that nearly half of its stores will close. The future of the remaining 2,500 locations is still in question.
Radio Shack?
A rough ending to an aggressive rebranding campaign for the quarter-century-old merchant, as seen in their 2014 Super Bowl ad.
The 80s called. They want their store back.
But with the advent of the internet, consumers began to see the price disparity in items like cables and small electronics.
Radio Shack would be the place that I normally would go. Or if I can't get there, then I go online.
A DVI monitor cable, Radio Shack listed at $27.99. Well, we found a comparable Dell cable on Amazon for less than $6. It's a similar story with audio cables, internet cables, and even the exact same RAM memory chip, all significantly more expensive at Radio Shack.
Or it's easier to see the prices online with competing stores.
Now, with some items like batteries and chargers, the game usually is you get what you paid for. But in cases like aux speakers, cables, and TV wiring, experts say the online versions are no different. And buzzwords like gold-plated are more marketing tactics. Also to note, the Macomb location is still expected to stay in business.
Despite these cold temperatures here at WIU, dozens of students are set to strip off their clothes and race in the nearly naked mile. The Spencer Student Recreation Center will be holding the 5K race this Saturday to benefit the youth of McDonough County. The race begins at 5:30 p.m. just south of the rec center. For more details or to register, you can contact the WIU Student Recreation Center.
News 3 works to bring our viewers closer to a pet in need. This week's pet of the week is Lyric. Lyric is a 12-month-old pit bull mix. She gets along great with other dogs and is spayed, microchipped, and up-to-date on vaccinations. Lyric is patiently waiting for her forever home and a loving family.
Coming up on Good Morning Macomb, we have a special guest coming on set to talk about Black History Month.
That's right. I will be sitting down with the chair of the African American Studies Department, Dr. Eric Brooks. Brooks will discuss the details of Black History Month events and how the university keeps current in African American studies after the break.
And it's a very cold morning out there right now. Let's take a look outside. Wind chill advisory still remains in effect. We're only at 4 degrees currently. Temperatures are very struggle to get up anywhere this afternoon. Currently across the region, we're in the single digits, 4 degrees right now at Macomb. Capturing those wind chills though, we're upwards of -20. We'll take a full look at your full weather forecast in a couple minutes.
That's me, Chris Lovingood, a senior broadcasting major at Western Illinois University. From networking in DC at a national conference to getting hands-on experience behind the news desk and in the field, the opportunities I have at WIU are preparing me for a successful media career. This is my story. What will your success story be?
I think NEWS3 is great. It's all one common goal. Everybody's trying to be #1. Last year we were #1 in the nation. We beat out Florida and Oklahoma. I get to work with so many professionals. It's a really great experience, and they're always there to help, and it's just all around fun. Jasmine Crichton really does make it a real life experience that most schools maybe not. They don't offer that.
When the big stories strike, count on award winners to provide you intimate and in-depth coverage. On the air and online, local news, fresh perspective.
What did you want to be when you grew up? Now, how do you make it happen? Think purple, think success, think Western Illinois University.
Before the lights go on, dedication, teamwork, precision. Award-winning leadership brings you Macomb's only local TV newscast. On the air, live at 4, Friday mornings at 10, and online all the time. Our community, your community, NEWS3.
Take your train to go. Stand by 3 for the push in. Now from Macomb in high definition, you're watching Sinead Glasgow, Emily Manley, Storm Team 3's forecast with Nicholas Stewart, and sports with Danny Fry. Good Morning Macomb continues.
The City of Macomb recognized Dr. Eric Brooks and the African American Studies here at WIU for the month of February. Dr. Brooks was presented a plaque from city officials to declare February as Black History Month. Joining me this morning is Dr. Brooks himself to explain AAS and the events held throughout this month. Good morning and thank you for joining me.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good. Not too cold for you to get here this morning?
It is very cold, especially being a northern transplant. This is very cold for me.
It is very cold out there. Can you tell me the history of the African American Studies here at Western?
Well, African American Studies as a discipline nationwide started in 1968 at the University of San Francisco when black students there, not only black students, but black students mainly, felt that they needed a space and they wanted to begin to study the history and developments of African Americans, as a discipline. And the Department of African American Studies started at Western as a program first in 1970-71. And so that makes us one of the oldest departments of African American Studies in the country.
And because it dates back in time, how do you keep it current in your department today?
Well, we have done several things to keep it current. Right now, we're in the midst of doing curriculum reforms, where we're updating our courses and making them more relevant. You'll see some very exciting courses on the books for us in the next year or so. And what we're doing is trying to connect some of those historical events with more contemporary and current events. And as you discover, as you look at these things, that some of the issues that the discipline was founded on we're still discussing. They're still relevant.
How many students do you have in the department?
Right now, the direct number of majors escapes me, but our numbers are a little down, but we're in a massive recruitment effort trying to gain more majors and minors within our department.
Because this month is Black History Month, what are the events that you guys have going on around campus?
We have a wide array of events going on. We've started off with our discussion about Martin Luther King on January 29th, and we moved that right on into Black History Month, where we began with the movie at Selma. We had a special screening of Selma down at the Rialto Cinemas, and we've had movies each Tuesday night at 7 in Morgan Hall in 101B, and each Wednesday at noon we've had a noontime lecture by several of the professors here on campus, and we had various other events going on. The next major event that we have going on is a book discussion where we're gonna talk about one of the classics in African American studies called The Negro Problem. And we're going to have a discussion here in the library on February 23rd, and we're going to have one in the city a day later. And so that's our next major event dealing with Black History Month.
And this event is open not just to students, but to the public in general.
All of our events are open to the public. I believe that universities not only educate within, we educate externally as well.
Well, thank you for joining me this morning, Dr. Brooks, and explaining the African American studies. Remember, you can attend these events to find more information about the history of African American culture. And then, coming up next on News 3, last night's gusty winds had temperatures moving below zero. News 3 Nicholas Stewart is in next to tell you if these freezing conditions are here to stay in his full weather forecast. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Very, very good.
Anytime.
Dr. King, what's your next move?
In March from Selma to Montgomery.
Selma is loud for every man, woman, and child.
We will not wait any longer.
In front of a crowd.
Thine eyes have seen the glory. Glory, glory, hallelujah.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Don't worry, 74 people were picked before me in the NFL draft.
To fight childhood obesity, United Way and the NFL are helping kids play at least 60 minutes a day.
Okay, time for the team obstacle course. Yay!
What this place needs is more healthy kids. To get involved or donate, go to unitedway.org/play60.
Now I get it.
So they say it's a man's world? I don't see anybody's name on it.
While they were doing their thing, we slowly changed ours.
Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
And temperatures right now, wind chill wise, we're very cold out there. Wind chills are very uncomfortable. Looking at Macomb right now of negative 20 degrees below zero. That's because these temperatures are in the single digits right now. Taking a look at the next map right here, the current satellite radar composite. Few flurries moving across central Illinois, but mostly clear conditions as we go on through the afternoon today. And that'll continue as we go on to basically throughout the afternoon. High pressure will continue to build in through basically all afternoon. If you can kind of continue the slide here. I'm having some clicker issues right now, so next map, please. Okay, so we're having some computer issues right now. So high pressure is going to continue to build in basically throughout the afternoon today. That's going to clear the clouds, but the high pressure that's building off to our north and west, that's going to build in, and the pressure gradient between the low pressure center off to our east makes some very gusty winds That's going to bring in a lot of cold air. You can see these temperatures right now from the northwest, only 0 degrees Des Moines. This cold air is going to funnel into our region right now in the tri-state region, knocking our temperatures. Again, it's the pressure difference between the high pressure in the west and this low pressure off to our east. That's going to transport this very cold air behind this Clipper system that moved in last night. That's what brought our little bout of snow last night. And as we go into the day tomorrow, high pressure builds in across the tri-state region. That'll basically clear the clouds, dial the winds down a little bit. By Friday, high pressure center moves well off to the east. That'll start warming our temperatures up a little bit, get a little bit more of a southerly flow that'll raise our temperatures up to a little bit closer to normal. But our next chance of snow moves in this weekend. We got a low pressure center track off to our south, putting us in the snow range. We could be looking at an accumulating snowfall event. Don't want to talk too much about it right now. We don't know all the specifics at this time. But as we go into today, we're only going to get up to about 7 degrees. We're going to continue to deal with those wind chills of -20 to -25 degrees. Northwest winds at 15 to 20 miles per hour, making that feel so. For tonight, temperature is going to drop down to about 4 degrees, or -4 degrees right now. Those will continue to, the skies will clear out. Mostly clear skies, winds northwest at 15 to 20 miles per hour. For the 5-day forecast, temperature is going to slowly increase as we head towards the weekend. Next chance of snow moves in on Saturday before the next system moves in, bringing our temperatures down just a little bit more. So you're going to have to deal with that cold air through the rest of the week and into next weekend, the beginning of next week as well. But again, chance of snow on Saturday, and that'll be our accumulating snowfall event. So hopefully you guys can, on your way to class this morning, or if you have to go out this afternoon, hopefully bundling up, make sure you do so.
Definitely is cold. And of course, even though Nick didn't have the best forecast to give us, Danny's got a great look of sports ahead.
That's right, straight ahead in sports, we'll have a season review of the Macomb High girls basketball team and the Western Illinois women's basketball team look to keep pace in the Summit League on the road against IUPUI. That and more next on Good Morning Macomb.
Sometimes all it takes to be a dad is remembering how to be a kid again. Take time to be a dad today.
Cook foods to the right temperature using a food thermometer. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community, which means your stuff can be more powerful than you think. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Don't worry, 74 people were picked before me in the NFL draft.
To fight childhood obesity, United Way and the NFL are helping kids play at least 60 minutes a day.
Okay, time for the team obstacle course. Yay!
What this place needs is more healthy kids. To get involved or donate, go to unitedway.org/play60.
Now I get it.
Welcome back, I'm Danny Fry with sports. The Macomb High girls basketball team is still in the rebuilding process and adjusting to an up-tempo style of play. Head coach Zach Keene has had a chance to reflect on the past season.
You know, with this team, we knew we had 7 seniors coming back. We knew that it was a team that was familiar with the style that we wanted to play, started to really pick up on things going up and down and being able to play a little more fast-paced than what we had the last couple of years. So we knew that we had a good nucleus of kids coming back, and we were really excited what we had. We had a really good summer. Guys, the kids that bought into the whole system that we're trying to play, you know, whether it's dressing 12 kids, 13 kids, all of our kids understand they're all going to play. Nobody's going to play 32 minutes, and they've all bought into that, and the fact that you're going to play as hard as you possibly can play for as long as you're going to play. And you know, we felt like coming into the regional was one of the toughest regionals in the state of Illinois, maybe in Class 2A when you look at the likes of Illini West and Havana. We felt like we were playing really good basketball heading into that stretch, but anytime you're going to play an Illini West team at home, they're going to be tough to beat. We knew that they were going to shoot the ball well. We came in and you know it's coming eventually, but we just didn't shoot the ball anywhere remotely close to like we'd have liked to. It's still a long journey along the way. We're 3 years into this now for these kids, and really kids, I think this year started to see exactly what it could do as far as changing the mentality of how hard you have to work.
MHS compiled a 16-12 overall record this season as they continue to improve. The Macomb High boys basketball team was in action last night at home against Augusta Southeastern in a game that went down to the wire and then some. It took double overtime, but the Suns outlasted the Bombers 48-47 after an old-fashioned three-point play by Winston Smith in the dwindling seconds. Damone Doyle led the Bombers with 18 points, and Grant Hannett chipped in with 12. Western Illinois women's basketball was in Indianapolis on Saturday to face the 12-12 IUPUI Jaguars in a crucial Summit League tilt. The Leathernecks haven't won at the Jungle since December 31st, 2011, but that was until Saturday. Sophie Reichel finds Tori Neiman inside. Easy layup for Western's first points of the day. Then Michelle Maher, hard drive to the hoop, fouled. Count that basket and one. WIU started the game on an 11-4 run. IUPUI was able to work the ball inside too. Here's a layup by Kelsey Bird. Western led at half 30-28. On to the second half. Jenna Gunn inside, shot will fall. This was a seesaw battle, especially in the second half. Emily Clemens slashing in the lane, then dishes it to Faith Loyce. Money on the three ball from the right wing. Leathernecks led 47-41 at that point, went on to pick up their 8th Summit League victory of the season, 69-62. WIU head coach J.D. Gravina was more than pleased with his team's road win.
Oh, it was a huge win. Probably one of the biggest since I've been at Western, maybe the biggest. You know, we've done something twice now that no other conference team had done, beat North Dakota State their place and beat IUPUI at home. And I think that really shows what we're capable of and hopefully gives us a little confidence when we do have to go on the road to the Dakotas. But after that let up at Omaha, you know, I think we had some questions in our mind and we answered them in practice, and then that carried over. I thought we answered them today.
That was sports. Now back to you.
Thanks, Danny. Tables turn on one TV news reporter after discovering she was actually the subject of her own story.
Find out how she solved the mystery after the break.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Enroll, we say. We want you to be okay. Enroll, we say. Take care, people, for goodness sake.
This job looks perfect. It says you need a high school diploma. You've got one of those, right?
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
I got that.
Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
Used to call me the buttered biscuit. Back then I was a sex expert. I knew about birth control too.
Bedsider.org has birth control information and a lot more. And it's...
Have you had sex in this car yet?
Today, 1 out of every 4 American kids is Hispanic.
That means many of the future doctors who will care for us, the engineers who will build our cities, the scientists and entrepreneurs of our country can be your kids.
We all know how hard it is for you to send them to college. This is why we want you to know you are not alone.
And every day more people support you to make it happen. Many support you. And the Hispanic Scholarship Fund helps you prepare, plan, and pay for your kids' college education.
HSF.net.
No more pencils, no more books, no more teachers, dirty looks. School's out for summer.
What this place needed was better graduation rates. So we worked with schools like Henry Ford High, and now they're up 18%. To help us do more good this year, go to unitedway.org, because great things happen when we live united.
TV reporter in Southern California received an unexpected surprise this week. Shannon Handy was shocked after she became the suspect of a story instead of reporting it.
Shannon had no idea that as soon as she sat down in that chair, that her boyfriend Noah was about to sweep her off of her feet. As you can see, it was a yes and a real proposal, and she, of course, said yes. She and her boyfriend have been dating for 7 years.
So sweet.
So cute.
Thanks for waking up with us this morning on Good Morning Macomb. For Danny Fry, I'm Emily Manley.
And for Nicholas Stewart, I'm Shanae Glasgow. We'll stay on top of your news overnight and bring you the latest updates on our Facebook page. Find us at News 3 WIU.
Have a good morning, Macomb.